Some people feel that Saber is doing a good job. They're happy with how the release schedule has worked for additional content for Space Marine 2. They also think that, hey, by giving Saber more time, we're going to get more quality stuff. However, on the opposite end of the spectrum, there are some people out there who believe that we're not getting nearly enough content, the wait times are too long, and they are just strictly unhappy. Now, what I want to know from all of you is Saber doing good? Are they doing exactly what they need to be? Or are we kind of giving them the kid gloves and we should expect more? Or maybe you're somebody who's in the middle, like I would consider myself. So I do just want to preface with, so I'm in my early 30s, so I very much remember a time where when you bought a game, that was what you got. If you were unhappy with it, it's kind of tough shit because there wasn't going to be any patches, DLC, anything like that. What you got was what you got. Now, granted, we do live in a time where things are much different. Those days are long past, and I'm glad that they are, because there have definitely been some titles that have come out and maybe there was something that didn't work last minute. Now we have the chance to fix it. Plus, if you really enjoy a game, you're not stuck with the base level of content. We do have DLC now, and I think that gaming's in a pretty good spot overall. But I want to focus specifically on Space Marine 2, and just to be upfront with you all on that, I've really loved this game. If we didn't see any DLC for it and the base game was all we got, I'll be honest with you, I'd still be extremely happy with it. This game really made me dive into the whole 40K universe, and I've loved it. I've started going through, reading the books, considered getting a few miniatures here and there. I might just go with some of the more kind of finished collectible pieces, but overall I've really enjoyed this universe, and so in that aspect the game has given me everything that I've wanted. All the additional operations, new weapons, cosmetics, stuff like that, to me it's just all a cherry on top. But there is a very fair chance that maybe I'm just putting the kid gloves on with Saber and that, and maybe they need their feet held to the fire. But before we talk about that, I want to tell you guys why I give them the benefit of the doubt. For starters, like I said, I enjoy the game. I've had nothing but fun with it, especially playing with a lot of my friends. We have grinded operations to the point where it's definitely going to be nice to have a new one in the old rotation and that. The other thing, too, that I give Saber credit for is they've been very transparent with the community. If there are delays, they let us know. They also just did a public test server. That way they could get actual feedback from the community in hopes that the next update will be even better for us. Of course, we did also learn that Horde mode is going to be delayed a little bit. It was, at least to my knowledge, supposed to drop with patch 7.0 or season 4, however you want to look at it. But it has been delayed, and they've been very vocal that, hey, there's just some things that we want to iron out. We don't think this mode is currently at the state that we want it to be at. Personally, I'm cool with that. I'm beyond happy with the fact that, they're keeping us in the loop about stuff. And I'll be honest, I never felt that Space Marine 2 was kind of one of those games that was meant to be just non-stop played through its entire life cycle. I thought this was a game where you could very much just kind of enjoy the parts that you do in that. Once you've had your fun, hey, go ahead, bounce on to something else, maybe come back in a couple of months, and there should be some new content here to keep everything fresh. That's always been my whole methodology to approaching this game. Of course, I have completely grinded it out, so I'm not opposed to new content whatsoever. But that was always kind of my mentality with it. Personally, I haven't got burned out because I have gone back and played other games in that. Yes, this game is still in very heavy rotation, but it's not the only thing that I'm going to touch. And so for me in that, new content every other month, patch in between here or so to kind of iron out some of the bugs that are brought along with the previous patch. I've been relatively happy with it. That, and the other thing I also want to say too is I also understand that Saber is a smaller company. You know, they're not like EA or some of these other big ones. They don't have a lot of the same resources and manpower that it takes to give us new content, you know, as often as maybe what we would all hope. But that being said, I definitely understand where some people are at with it. I know a lot of people have kind of said that, you know, hey, the new content's nice, we enjoy this game so much. We're just kind of upset though that, you know, it's only every other month and they'd maybe like to see some more frequent drops. A lot of people have also kind of mentioned that, you know, a lot of the content that we really do get from these updates ultimately really isn't a whole lot, which I would agree with. I mean, as of now, we've gotten 2 new PvE operations. We've gotten 1 new weapon, and that's just the stuff that's free. Now, granted, if you are like me, someone who did kind of go out and buy the battle pass just so you could LARP around as your favorite Space Marine chapter or whatever, yeah, you do get some bonus cosmetics. They're also having some community events as well where you can pick stuff up, but honestly, in terms of cosmetics, unless you're paying for it, there's been very few and far between. Granted, I do feel a lot of the stuff that released in the base game I've been extremely happy with. At the same time, though, I do also kind of feel that, you know, while we do have a lot of options, it definitely would have been cool to see a lot more variety with it, especially knowing that not everybody wants to just kind of LARP around as the Ultra Smurfs and that. I myself, big fan of the Imperial Fist, Black Templars. I know we're going to be getting some cosmetics for them, but I also think it's something that should have been included in the base game. Maybe allow the season pass, you know, hey, still give that as your option to access the champions and maybe some more decorative pieces, since you are paying money for that, and of course, you know, supporting the company in that so they can bring us more content. But ultimately, that is my question. How do you all feel about it? Like I said, for me personally, I don't have any ill will towards Saber. I have been pretty happy with them. I've been pretty happy with the content that they have dropped. Of course, I've loved the game so much that if they were to give us more content, I wouldn't complain about it. And again, I don't fault people on the other side of the spectrum, because I think where gaming is at now is a lot of games are kind of built around being live services. And I think anytime, you know, you talk about things like a battle pass or something like that, it's very easy in that for people, or I'm sorry, not even battle passes, but like even things like season passes, stuff like that anymore, it does kind of indicate that, you know, people do expect content to come out at a pretty reasonable pace. And I guess that's ultimately my main question is the current pace reasonable? Is the amount of content reasonable? Again, for myself, someone who will pick this game up, play it until, you know, maybe I have grinded it to the point where I'm maybe not having as much fun as what I was, I'm going to put it down. For other people, I know they are very, very diehard with this game and that, and it's, you know, their main game that's in rotation. Just let me know in the comments. Again, I don't think anybody's completely right or wrong in this situation. Truthfully, I think it kind of lies somewhere in the middle. Even myself in that, I think maybe I could do a little better of a job of, you know, saying, hey, maybe instead of just 1 new operation, maybe 2 per update. And of course, I know the PvP people and that y'all have been starving pretty much ever since this game dropped. Definitely want to hear from you all as well. You know, are you guys happy with what's been coming out in the updates? I know there's been some new maps, things like that. Yeah, just feel free to let me know. Be courteous about it. I don't think anybody's right or wrong 100% in this situation. I think there's very fair arguments on both sides, so just let me know your thoughts.